Okay, so picture this. It's the first half of 2025. You're mindlessly scrolling through your phone, probably procrastinating on something important, and bam! A photo of Kris Jenner freezes your thumb mid-swipe. She's in Paris with Kim, then she's at Lauren Sanchez's bachelorette party, and she's not just looking good for a woman about to turn 70. No, this is something else entirely. She's looking sculpted, polished, almost eerily ageless. The internet predictably goes into a complete and utter meltdown. Twitter threads are popping up with side-by-side photo analysis like it's the Zapruder film. TikTok is flooded with plastic surgeons giving their expert opinions, circling her jawline with red markers. The comments on her Instagram are a straight-up war zone between people screaming filter and others yelling Facetune wizardry. The speculation was running so rampant you'd think she'd stumbled upon a hidden Lazarus pit in the Calabasas Hills. But nope, the truth, as it often is in Hollywood, is a little less mystical and a lot more medical. And now, for the first time, the queen of Calabasas herself, Kris Jenner, is breaking her silence, and what she has to say is nothing short of a masterclass in controlling your own story. So Kris lands the cover of Vogue Arabia's September issue. I mean, are we surprised? The woman could probably broker a peace treaty and get a 10% cut. It's on this global platform that she finally decides to pull back the curtain on the mystery of her magically rejuvenated face. She looks straight into the soul of the public, figuratively speaking, and says, "Yeah, I did it." And she confirms what was already whispered. She went under the knife with the legendary Dr. Stephen Levine in New York City. But here's the stroke of pure genius, the part that is so perfectly quintessentially Kris Jenner. She doesn't call it a second facelift. Oh no, that sounds so clinical, so repetitive, so old. Instead, she brands it. She calls it a refresh. A refresh. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the sheer marketing brilliance of that one word? A refresh isn't scary. A refresh is what you do to your web browser. It's what you do to your living room with a new coat of paint. It's an update and optimization. She says, and I quote, "I had a facelift about 15 years ago, so it was time for a refresh." Let's just pause and marinate in the power of that framing. It was time. It's presented with the same casual necessity as getting your car's oil changed or renewing your driver's license. It's not framed as a desperate grasp at youth or a submission to insecurity. It's presented as routine maintenance for the multi-billion-dollar corporation that is the Kardashian Jenner brand, of which she is the CEO. And you know what? I have to give her major props for that. We live in this bizarre world where countless celebrities who clearly have a standing reservation with their dermatologist and surgeon will sit on a talk show couch, their forehead smoother than a sheet of glass, and credit their look to celery juice and a positive mindset. Kris is basically kicking down the door and saying, yeah, the celery juice is great, but let's be real, a world-class plastic surgeon with a steady hand does a little more. And what about it? But then she gets to the real heart of it, the why. And this is where the conversation transcends celebrity gossip and becomes a fascinating cultural statement. She told the magazine, "I decided to do this facelift because I want to be the best version of myself, and that makes me happy." Again, notice the language. It's simple, it's direct, and it is completely, utterly unapologetic. There's no performance of shame, no convoluted justification. It's a statement of personal fulfillment. This wasn't for a man, it wasn't for the tabloids, it wasn't to compete with her daughters, it was for her. In a society that absolutely loves to police women's bodies and tell them, especially women of a certain age, precisely how they should look, feel, and behave, that is a profoundly powerful and modern stance to take. She's seizing control of her own narrative and her own reflection. And this leads us to the most provocative and, in my opinion, the most culturally significant part of the entire interview. She takes on the loaded, impossible phrase, aging gracefully. Oh man, those two words. For decades, that phrase has been a thinly veiled command for women to get old, but to do it quietly, prettily, and without making a fuss. It's a societal trap, a total catch-22. If you let nature take its course, you get wrinkles and gray hair, and the whispers start. Oh, she's really let herself go. But if you intervene, if you get Botox or fillers or a facelift, the whispers just change their tune. Oh, she looks so fake. Why can't she just age gracefully? It's a game you can't win. Kris Jenner knows this game, and she's decided to flip the whole board over. First, she gives everyone their out. She says, just because you get older, it doesn't mean you should give up on yourself. If you feel comfortable in your skin and you want to age gracefully, meaning you don't want to do anything, then don't do anything. See, you do you. But then she drops the bomb that redefines the entire concept for her world. But for me, this is aging gracefully. It's my version. Mic drop. She is actively redefining the term on her own terms, on the cover of one of the world's most prestigious magazines. She's declaring that her version of grace isn't about passive acceptance of time's effects. It's about actively curating her body to match the energy and ambition she feels inside. It's proactive, it's deliberate, and in her universe, grace and a scalpel are not mutually exclusive. And honestly, say what you will, but I find that level of honesty incredibly refreshing. It's a transparency we rarely get. This isn't even a new thing for her. She's been laying the groundwork for years. The article reminds us, back in 2015, she was on a talk show openly discussing her breast augmentations, even joking about having to revise her implants from the 1980s. Then there was the now iconic moment on Keeping Up with the Kardashians where she underwent an earlobe reduction. An earlobe reduction? I mean, who wakes up one morning, looks in the mirror and thinks, you know what's really holding me back from achieving my full potential? The structural integrity of my earlobes? But she did, and she put it on international television for millions to see, demystifying and frankly normalizing a procedure most of us didn't even know existed. In 2019, she confirmed Botox was a long-time part of her routine. No shocker there, but again, she owned it. She's not just getting the work done, she's producing it. She's turning her personal medical journey into content, into a teachable moment, into a strange form of entertainment that chips away at the stigma. She even explained her philosophy to Vogue Arabia. I decided to reveal some details because I feel it can be very inspirational to people who aren't feeling so great about themselves. Even when I had my hip replacement, we filmed it. I have the conviction that sharing these things can be helpful. Now, is it inspirational in the way a story about climbing Mount Everest is? Probably not. I don't think the average person is going to watch an episode of the Kardashians and immediately book a facelift. But the inspiration she's talking about isn't in the act itself. It's in the honesty about the act. The inspiration is in the refusal to lie and perpetuate the myth that this level of age-defying appearance is natural. She's showing the world that this level of perfection requires a team, it requires a lot of money, and yes, it requires a surgeon. By showing the how, she's dispelling the toxic myth that you can just wake up like this, which is a fundamentally healthier message than pretending it's all genetics and good vibes. And of course, it wouldn't be a true Kardashian-Jenner saga without the rest of the family being intimately involved. This wasn't some clandestine trip she took alone in the dead of night. Oh no, this was a full-blown family production. She confirmed who was on her Team Refresh support staff. Of course, my daughter Kylie went with me while Kim was present at all times on FaceTime. I just can't get over the beautiful absurdity of that that image. Kris Jenner, probably in a fabulous silk pre-op robe, with Kylie there physically for moral support, and Kim's perfectly contoured face on an iPad, likely art directing the angles and giving notes from a different continent. Mom, tell Dr. Levon to focus on the jawline. The lighting in here is making your jowls look existent. It's so hilariously on brand, it's almost performance art. For this family, a major medical procedure isn't a private matter. It's a family event, it's a business meeting, and it's a potential plot point for their next season. It perfectly illustrates how, in their world, the lines between family, business, and public image have completely dissolved into one seamless, wildly successful enterprise. But let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture here. Kris Jenner is turning 70 in November. 70! And let's be clear, she is at the absolute apex of her power. She is the matriarch and mastermind behind a cultural and financial dynasty. She is not slowing down. She is not retiring to a quiet life of gardening and daytime television. She is getting a refresh and